Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday to you all. Hope y'all feeling good this morning. Hope life is treating you good. It's a beautiful, little brisk Friday morning, but it's still Friday. It's still a beautiful day. I don't care what you're doing. Seems to me Fridays work a little bit better. Things hit a little bit different on a Friday. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel a little bit. Could be a mental thing, or could be like a habit thing, one of those things. D Jackson, what's going on? Let me know if y'all can hear me and see me. Let me know if everything is coming through clear. If you can see me clear, you can hear me clear. Give me a thumbs up and let me know if you can hear and see me good. What's up, family man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on in. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. Bless up, bless up, bless up. I hope everything's going well with you all, and I hope life is treating you good. What's going on, Gigi? How you doing this morning? Good to see you, Queen. How you doing? If y'all can, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to put some T's in the chat. Put some T's in the chat when you come in. And if you know you're thankful, if you know you are here and you're thankful, go ahead and put some T's in the chat, fam. Go ahead and put it in there. We're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna have a serious discussion, and I have been getting questions about this thing, which I get it so often, but now lately it's been getting a little bit more ramped up. A lot of people are losing their confidence, and which I already told y'all, I don't have nothing against investing in stocks and crypto and all of that, but I've been around the block a few times, and I seen some ups and I seen some downs. It don't mean that all the ups and the downs are the same, but when you see trends going, not to say it won't rally, not saying pulling anything out, but I'm just saying diversify, fam. You have to diversify your assets. And if you watch the wealthy, what they're doing, they knew it was going to be some uncertainty. The wealthy people, they pull out their assets, a large chunk of their assets. They let the ones that when they came in very low, they let them stay in there, let them ride the wave. And some people kind of do that dollar cost averaging, just while the market is down, I'm just gonna pack it, pack it, pack it. But a lot of the wealthy, what they'll do, they'll pull it out, let people let it do all this kind of stuff. And once everything start to adjust and it start riding back up, then they'll drop it back in there. And then that's what rallies it to make it go. And I'm not saying what I think, I'm not saying what I feel, I'm saying what I've seen since I've been an adult. This whole process goes the same way. You got to make your own decision, not a financial advisor, what you want to do, how you want to do. But one thing I'm tell you, a lot of them, they're gonna put it in some land. They're gonna put their money in some tangible assets. Some people say gold, some people say this, some people say that. But like I said, grow your own food on a piece of dirt. Not only will you have a place that you can put a roof over your head, not only will you have a place that you can put something, some seeds, some trees. It's a real investment. And if you want to share it with somebody else, you can rent, you can lease space. If somebody want to bring an asset there, they want to rent a spot or leave their boats, leave the RV. It's options. Now we want to have a discussion, but we're gonna have a broad discussion. We're not gonna have a really specific discussion about is now the right time to buy land. Because my answer, whenever anybody asks me, is now the right time to buy land? My first. Let me go to the chat first, and then I'll let you know my first. Okay. What's up, Kathy B? Grand Rising. Bless up, bless up, bless up. There go some T's. I need to see some T's. Come on, Michelle. How you doing, Michelle Powell? I need some T's. I mean, them T's. Wait a minute. Hold on for 1 second. I can't ask y'all to put no T's. I gotta give thanks to the creator above too. I'm putting some T's in the chat too. Grand Rising to you. Soul Soldier 70. What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. B Bundy. Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up. Got T's too. All right, all right. All right. Going back to this land thing. When is the right time to invest in land, fam? Y'all put in the chat what you think. When is the right time to invest in land? And I'm going to give you my personal opinion first. This is my first personal opinion. When is the right time you think to buy land? And what we're talking about today, we're not talking about structures, housing, none of that. We're going with the ABC basic raw land. because everyone from time to time will say, "Well, I don't have no money, Eco. I don't have that kind of money. I don't have this. I don't have that." So the lowest cost land, depending on the location, is something that has no improvements. But is it a wise decision to buy it without improvements? It varies. It varies. You got some land that got improvements, might have an old dilapidated house, or old dilapidated um mobile home, modular home, or may even have a structure on there. Could be a pole barn or a barn, but it may have electricity, a power pole, may have a septic tank out there. It may have a well out there. But when you get ready to build, construct, or bring in a tiny home or build your own home, you're gonna have to get what they call permits. And they're gonna still check your septic tank. They still gonna check your well. They're gonna check your pipe and your casing. And then you don't want no 50, 70, 80-year-old pipe. And you know the kind of pipe they used to use back in the days, you know what I'm saying? You want to reconstruct all of that. So you still gotta weigh the cost, fam. You can't go in here blindly saying, okay, it has all of this, has all that. I know I got that, I'm good. Your expectation would be like when I buy a piece of land and it's an older structure on there, it's not maintained, it hadn't been maintained, it's not fresh, it's not new, it's not up to date. Your expectation mentally, subconsciously should be it'll be a benefit if I can use some of this stuff, but my expectation is I might have to get all new. So if you go in with that mindset, it's going to help you out with your navigation, the way you move. Because if you go in there, you're thinking, well, I won't have to do this, I won't have to do this, I won't have to do that. The laws change so much. County, state, federal laws change so much that you just got to check. You got to do your due diligence. But I always say when you're going into this thing, try to act like it has nothing at all on that piece of property. That's my personal suggestion. All right, let's see. Now and still investing. You know, now and still investing. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Just help me out with that comment right there. Always, in my opinion, that's that. Okay, we got that always. We got yesterday, next, best now. On yesterday, next, let's see. If it is not too much to ask, please hit. Thank you. I appreciate that. Please hit the like button. I appreciate that. So this is my personal opinion. Only my opinion is when is the right time to buy land? When the price is right, when the location is right, and when you can afford it. Let me say that one more time. When the price is right, when the location is right, and when you can afford it. That's the right time to buy land, because the reason why I'm saying this, if you're in a hot market, give you an example, certain parts in Florida, the market really don't settle down in certain portions of Florida. Even in an economic downturn, now you may be able to do your due diligence. Like some people, they do it from the mud up. Like for instance, just say if I saw a piece of land, I like a certain area, and I wanted to be in a certain area, right? Now, if I want to be in a certain area and there was no for sale signs out there, I would go to the county's website, to the public, to the property appraiser's website. I'll go pull up that a map, and I'll check that area, and I click on each one of those parcels, and then I get down the mailing information of the owners, and I send me out a letter out to everybody and saying, hey, are you interested in selling your land? I'm interested in buying your land, straight cash, and you better be ready. And you can try that. That way you can find some people may be willing to get off that land. Some people may not be willing to do anything with that land, right? So there's opportunities that you can do it. But now, one thing I will say this is that if you got the right location and if you can afford it, man, you working with something. You're working with something. Even though the housing market may go down, the stocks may go down, the The crypto may change. Gold prices may go down. Land may go down, but it does not fluctuate as historical time. It does not fluctuate like a stock, crypto, even houses. Raw land typically holds its steady pace. Does not mean it does not fluctuate, but it does not do all of this right here. Land is a long-term investment, but it can be short if you're in the right place, the right time, and the right price. So let's talk about first of all, me. I'm over 50 years old. If I'm thinking about raw land, I want to move now. Some people saying, well, we're going to wait till the economy crash and then we're going to have all these deals. We're going to have all of this. If you buying raw land at my age and you trying to stay out there, you're trying to build your homestead, or if you, even if you 40, 45, just say from 40 to 60 years old, if you, let me move that up, 45, okay, 45 to 60 years old, and you think about going by raw land and doing what we did out here, even if you got the capital, even if you got the funds, you want to do it now. The reason why I say you want to do it now is because it takes time to develop. It takes time to get things done. Even if you got straight cash to build your house, to pay for your well, to pay for your sewage, pay for your septic tank, to do the field dirt, to do the driveways, the land clearing, all of that, you're talking about probably about maybe, if you got availability now, depends on your area, you're probably looking at minimum 8 months to a year, and that's fast, super fast, or you're talking about 2 years. That's just to get you out there. Get you out there in the structures, pulling your permits, getting with your contractors. And if it's in a rural area, especially, it's going to take some time. Now, if you're in a metropolitan area and you're in an area, it may take way longer than that because the demand is so high. There's not a lot of people out there building. And most of the builders, they're working with all these big developers, right? So just think about this. If I just want to, and depending on your section and depending on your area, you have to get, first of all, you buy your raw land, you got to get an address. If you getting ready to put a mailbox there, you want to camp out on your land, you want to hike on your land, you need to get an address, right? Yes, you can use a post office box, or this or that, but you're going to start having rough times when you're getting ready to contract stuff out. You're getting ready to get stuff delivered to your land. You're getting ready to do things. Hold on for 1 second. My nose running. Give me a second. All right. But you're gonna have a process where you got to apply for that. You got to get approval to even put a driveway in. Do you need a culvert? If you need a culvert, do you have equipment to do all of this? Where you going to buy your culverts at? Are you going to shop, or you just going to buy the first culvert? This stuff takes time, right? Then you got to schedule the time for them to come. You got to work with the county, make sure you don't need to shut down the road, make sure they okay, they not doing any work, because they can fine you if you start becoming an obstruction to traffic flow, all of that kind of stuff. So you have to check with all this stuff, and people have to be available to sit down and talk to you. So we're talking about time, and every single step of the way we're talking about time. So if you're 45 and you around 60 years old, you think about getting raw land and getting out there on your land, have the expectations that this is going to take me about a couple of years. It's going to take me a couple of years, and that's me being consistent, doing my follow through, looking out, getting things done, and being patient. Because I'm telling you, the last thing you want to do is rush, because nothing is worse than you get out there on that land and you be like, man, I wish I wouldn't have put this house here. I wish I wouldn't have put this well here. Dog, I put my septic tank. I put my septic tank right there. Because this stuff that's not only is costly, but it's infrastructure. Dog, do I want to put my electric line coming through this property this way? Or am I putting this electric line going to my property to a place where I can expand on my property? Because I want to put a barn over here. I want to put this here. I don't want to keep buying power poles all over the place. I don't want to have to keep cutting right-of-ways, because you got to think about it. If you bring in power to your property, if it doesn't have power, You talking about at least 30 to 35 feet right away, clearing land. All of these are extra costs, even though you think, okay, I seen places where I seen a power line running up through them trees and this and that. Today's term, they want 30 to 35 feet on a right of way. Think about these things. Yes, you just got your land cleared off, and you just paid this guy thousands of dollars to clear your land off, but I could have gave him a couple of $100 to go ahead and do my right away. So you want time to sit there. You want time to go out to your land. You want to go out there when it's raining. You want to go out there in the wintertime. Even before you buy the land, you want to do this, but you really, after you buy the land, you want to do this again. You want to go through the process. You want to look at where the sun rise, where the sun set. Do I want my house facing the sunrise? Do I want my house facing the sunset? Where will I spend most of my time on this property? If my home is here and I'm going to spend my evenings on the back deck or the back patio, do I want the sun beaming in my face? So you want to take the time and just survey the land. Look at the land. Observe the patterns. Understand the traffic that comes on and off your land as far as nature-wise, human-wise, noise. Is there a train? Are there certain traffic obstructions that come? You want to get a good, I might need to sit back off my land a little bit further because this is a country road, but this road is busy. So I might want to sit back another 200 feet off the lane. All of these things you're going to be able to do if you just take your time. And that's why I say, when is the right time? At 45 to 60 years old? When the location right, when the price is right, and when you got the funds. Because once you get that 2 years and you finally got your house, you still got to do your landscaping. You still gonna need your sidewalk, your pavers. You still gonna need to organize your shop. You still gonna need to run more plumbing, more electrical through your property, because remember, this is raw land. You're gonna want a faucet somewhere on another section of your land. You're gonna want electrical outlet on another section of your land. You're gonna want certain things. You're gonna want to control some of your water runoff because now you done cleared all your trees. And now you got a spot for your house because you didn't want no trees around your house, but you done changed the whole topography of the land. Now you got a few rainy days, and if you go ahead and jump on in there, you noticing by the time they put in the all structures, no matter whether it's a mobile home, no matter whether it's a modular home, no matter whether it's a site-built home, they're gonna have to bring in a certain type of dirt. I forgot the name of it, please forgive me, but they're going to put it in certain type of dirt. And in that dirt, they're going to have to compact it and put it in. That's going to be like your foundation to your foundation of your house. Man, you get out there, you clean out, you clean out those trees, and you let a good rainy season come, and you be like, dog, I don't know if I really want to put my house this section. I might want to put it where it flows with the water or where the water runs away from it. All of these different things. My land looked pretty flat until we cleared out these trees. I didn't know there was a gradual incline. I can't put the well up there because my septic tank going to be up there. I'm going to have to put my well north of my septic tank, and it got to be so many feet away from your septic tank. So that means I got to do more plumbing, more piping to move it here. But I started out put my well way up here, but now I want my house another 200-300 feet away. See, all of this stuff is time taking, and you got to be patient, and you got to walk your way through the step by step. So now, if you're in your 20s, or if you anywhere, just say from 20 to 35, 40, you may want to wait. You may want to wait for the market to kind of suppress a little bit before you do it. But I say, if the location right, the price is right, and you got the funds, you better get down and get you some land. It does not matter what age, what year, or whatever. And I always say, let's just say you bought the land. You did your due diligence. That's the key. And you bought it at the location and the price was right. And you decided that I don't even know if I even want to build here. I don't know if I want to do this. And you paid with raw land, most of the time, it depends on where you are, your taxes are not that expensive. And it's all investments. You know, we pay sometime for a lottery ticket and we mentally know we're not going to win, but we just want to get the high offer. Let me just imagine if I won $1 million. Or sometimes we know that that candy bar only lasts for about 10, 15, but just to get that little high, you know what I'm saying? Or sometimes we go for a ride and we ride through the neighborhood and we look at these beautiful big old houses and we just dream for a minute. Or sometimes we go to a car show and we look at cars and we dream for a minute. Buying that land and that little bit of tax money, depends on your location, that ain't nothing but you just paying for a little enjoyment. But what happens if the land prices increase? I had Gigi and I, we had like an acre of land in Tallahassee. Beautiful spot. Land wasn't right, but a beautiful spot. We sat on it for some years. Sat on it for some years. And we financed, we made our monthly payments less than a car payment. It was virtually nothing, you know what I'm saying? But we sat on that land. We had plans to build on that land, to do that land. But you know what, that land, one day we said, hey, we know we're gonna leave here, we're gonna get out of here. And we did the research after. All this stuff is I'm able to tell you because we done bought multiple properties over our lifetime. And I'm able to tell you some of the things that I wouldn't do because of things that I've done. So this land, it had a tremendous slope and it was backed up to a wetland. And then I hear all these people, well, you can do on wetlands and you can get this grant and you can get this approval. And then they have only certain setbacks and you can hunt and you can fit. Everybody got all these solutions, but I prefer not to have my land on wetland, not deemed as a large amount of wetland, because you have so many environmental issues and environmental impacts and things that limit you from what you can and what you can't do. Now you can go out there and do it yourself, but if anything goes wrong or goes awry, or if any what they call them, they have a lot of counties where they say you can report fraud and report this, and now I'm quite sure it's going to be report waste. If you ever see any waste, people report people. People fly. People just look for stuff. You know in the great book, the book say, "Hey, hey, devil, what you doing? I'm just looking for something to get into. I'm just looking for something to get into." A lot of people like that. They just, what are they doing? What's going on? They're just looking for something to get into. So I'm just saying, yes, there are shortcuts that you may take. I wouldn't recommend them, but they're shortcuts. So do you wait on the market to crash and you buy land? The problem with land, let me share this with you. It's not a problem. I'm gonna say one, this is why land is so stable. You get job loss, and I'm gonna say real estate. I'm gonna spin this over to real estate. Just say you hear all these job losses. Surely the housing prices will be, the housing prices will go down because there are gonna be a lot of job losses in a certain area. Do you know how long it takes? Not in all states, but in a lot of states, if you own your house and you foreclose on your house, you sometimes that stuff can take a year, sometimes it can take 3 months, 4 months. It takes some time. Anytime you hear these articles where they say prices plummet because of all the let goes and a week after and a month after, those are lies. Those are lies. So don't go for them. Real estate don't fluctuate like that. So even if the market dipped and went bottom, you know what homeowners going to do? They're going to sit on their land. They're going to sit where they are. They're not going to buy. They're not going to sell. And if they do sell, they don't want to risk that low or they're in a bad situation. But guess what happens? It's a while before it takes place on land. You're talking about bad economy. You got to stay bad for a certain period of time. And then maybe 6 months to a year, you'll start seeing the trickle effect with real estate after what has happened. Now, if it stay long for a long period of time, if the economic downfall lasts for more than a year, you might catch some of it inside of that economic downfall. But if we got 2 or 3 months of boom, and then this summer it's bolstering, it's pumping back up, you won't see no big fluctuation. That's why I say if the price is right. Now, how do you know if the price is right? You do your due diligence. And if you don't know how to do your due diligence, you get a professional realtor. You want to do that anyway. Anytime you buy land, go and get your professional that knows what they're doing. But don't just get a realtor. Ride around that area or go online. We got internet. You ain't got to ride around. Find out who specializes in land, real estate. Because somebody could be selling a buttload of houses and don't know the first thing about selling raw land. Raw land is a totally different monster, just like commercial real estate. Yeah, you might have your license, and yeah, you might could do this, and you could sell all across the board. You want someone who specializes in certain things, just like certain markets. I don't want to service you if you in Miami and I'm up here because I don't know nothing about Miami, right? You shouldn't even want me unless you have a knowledge and you know what you're getting into and you just need a realtor to help you through the process. That's the only time that I would justify that. Otherwise, you want someone that specializes in what's going on in that area, what's going on in that market. Because when you talk to that professional, experienced real estate agent or company or attorney that specialize in property, raw land, they're going to give you so much information. I had a great one that I worked with, and he's like, we would go to a piece of property. I'll send him a text, and I'll be like, hey, what you think about this? You think this is good? He was like, that's a little too high, too expensive for that area. We sold such and such, or this. I run some comps on it, and that's free. All this stuff is free. And when he say I run some comps on it, that means he'll take a look at the recent sales in the vicinity, the recent areas, and he'll show you things that almost comparable to what you're looking at, and he'll show you, or she will show you, that this is the price, these are the last few that sold, and this is the price that sold. So you do your due diligence. Land don't typically move fast unless it's something like, now it's some people that goes out there and they, most of the time the realtors, already have a list of people that they're going to contact anyway before it hit the market for those fabulous deals. Very rare do you see fabulous deals like that these days on these websites and on all of that. Most of the time, what a realtor do, I have a portfolio full on their phone of investors that's always looking for things. And before they even put it in the MLS, the multiple listing, they will give them a call and say, hey, I got this piece of property. I'm getting ready to drop it. Do you want to make a move on it? This is a good opportunity, you know? So you want to build that rapport. You want to build that. Matter of fact, that's how we got ours. He said, hey, I'm getting ready to put up the signs. I already got an offer. This offer been rejected, but this is an opportunity. You said you wanted a decent amount of land. Here's the opportunity. He called me up. He said, when I put the sign up, I'm letting you know, the sign never went up. We was over here. We took a look at it. We went through it. Got some family, got some squads, walked through the property, checked it out the best that we could. Of course, we didn't walk through the whole thing, but at that price, it was the best decision we made at that price, because less than 2 to 3 months later, for over $40,000 more, property the same size as our property, probably about 2-3 miles from our property, sold for about $40,000 more. So that's why I say, now the market was hot when this happened though, fam. You got to be ready to jump when it's ready. That market was hot, but you know who sold it? It was a timber company that sold the land. They've been raising timber for decades out here, right? They didn't care. There was a big investment corporation that was liquidating land. The land got battered with hurricane. The crop got messed up with hurricane damage. But for me, it was a haven for me. The trees were still young, lost a lot, I still got a lot. So if the right situation appears and it can meet your needs, these can be some wins for you. So position yourself in the right position and find out and learn a market. Try to isolate a certain section on where you want to be at, where you want to invest in. Don't be all over the place. I'm in Florida, I'm in Georgia, I'm in Alabama, I'm in Mississippi, I'm in Brazil. I'm looking for land. I'm just looking for land. What you looking for? I'm just looking for land. I'm looking for a deal. Specialize and learn, just like investing or anything else. Once you get familiar with get 2 or 3 counties in an area, maybe something you can make accessible, whether it's virtually or physically, or have a realtor that can work with you in that certain area, a certain vicinity, and just study it and study it and watch it and watch it and watch it. And then do some price analysis and look at recent sales and look at how things and trends and all that. You're going to start to get real good. You're going to really be able to tell a great deal from not so good of a deal. You know, you'll get a whole lot better because certain areas, the topography is garbage, the prices look good, you get a bunch of acreage, but you got drop-offs, you got cliffs. Some people think all of Florida is flat, for example. In North Florida, certain parts of the panhandle, man, you might have drop-offs. People think they in the mountains sometimes, you know. You have these because they say this was all underwater at one time. I don't know, I wasn't here, but they say a lot of it was underwater. But anyway, so you got to be careful. Some soil is sandy, some soil is not so sandy, some soil is real mucky. Beware wetlands. I'm not a big proponent of wetlands. If you do have wetlands, have it maybe on a piece or a little corner, a little sliver of your property. I've had too much negative feedback from people with wetlands. Now, if you just want that land just for hunting, you don't want to build nothing, you just want to maybe camp, you want to fish, and that's all you want to do, wetlands is the best price, is the best way that you can go. Because it's going to always be a natural habitat. You really won't get no building around it. It'll be a great escape for you to go camping, fishing, in your own resort. So if that's what your goal, I applaud wetlands. But if you're trying to build a house, you're trying to get insurance, you're trying to make sure you keep your flood insurance together, you're trying to get everything together, you talking about trying to garden, and you got all water brings animals. The more water you got and the more rural area you got, the more traffic you have. People, when I say animals, I'm talking about people included. So just keep those things in mind. I'm fixing to go in the chat. Y'all let me know what your thoughts, and if you got any questions. Let's see. I got to go all the way back up. Refine, what's going on? Peace up. Peace, everyone. Good to see you. I'm still buying land in different states and places. And Kathy B, that's a strategy that if I had to go back in time, I would have did more of. I was telling Gigi, I think yesterday, I said, if I had to go back in time, instead of them, I don't have nothing against my classic cars that I did invest, because Lord knows they blessed us when we was at our worst of worst times. And I got my heart goes out, because I hate to say it, some people gonna have to go through this that we went through years ago. Just to the fact of inflation was sky high. I watched the telltale sign. Inflation sky high, people paying over inflated prices year after year after year. Corporations got in the game, everybody was in the game, and then we know that you're gonna have to turn that faucet off. So when you turn the faucet off, the water level goes down, which we call a depression or financial crisis. The water level got to come down, and when the water level come down, then you suppress that inflation. And then what typically happens when you suppress the inflation, you hold it for a little while till it stabilizes, and then you can change the mindset of consumers, and then they'll start dropping interest rates. And when they drop the interest rates, it'll start bolstering the economy to come back up. So those are the patterns. Those are the cycles. And basically, I heard one guy said in each adult lifetime, they'll get 4 to 5 of those cycles. Up and crash, up and crash. At least 4 to 5. And I kind of agree with that. You know, I think we've been in the 80s. I can remember the 80s. Um, even though I was young, just entering into the work world. But I remember it was time where only young people could get entry level jobs, and they weren't hiring a lot of older people, middle aged people, and they was giving us pennies. And I was young at the time, so it was easy to get a job if you're young because they paid you less. But most adults trying to keep it, time got hard in certain parts of the 80s. Then I remember when that was because my first professional career job, I lost my job because during that time I was doing the Clinton era. And what he did, he cut, I think his administration was the last administration to balance the budget, I think. Him and Gingrich, I think. I could be wrong. Please correct me. But he cut the military budget. And I remember I was working for a company where we built missile command centers. I was fresh out of school and we was doing the mainframe. And they shut that place down because all the contracts. So see, all of these people be panicking about job loss, federal job cuts, and all this stuff that happened multiple times. I just hate it happen the way the etiquette wasn't the same, but the contractors, that's what they've been doing to the contract. Because see, we were contracted with the federal government. So they didn't care about cutting the contracts. So they cut the contracts with us, and they stopped hauling production, planes, military defense, all of that stuff. And so all of a sudden, the first people to go are the newest people. I was the newest people. So they cut us out of work. That happened young in my young life. Here I am and went and got me a Cutlass Supreme, got me some knock in there, got me 1 or 2 credit cards, had a great job. They paid good and they worked for the federal government. Felt real good. But I was like, what, 19, 20 years old? I ain't know nothing about no budget cuts and contract cut. What you mean by you cut the contract? I ain't cut no contract. I still work here. I'm like 1 or 2 days off of probation. Well, you on probation, so we got to let you go. I was like maybe 2 days off of from being off of probation, but it happened. So I remember that, and then people say, "How in the world did you lose your house? How you lose your cars? How you lose all that?" Just sit back and watch. Sit back and watch, because not only are federal jobs being cut, their spending gonna be cut. And when their spending gonna be cut, it's gonna affect the private sector. So it all starts, the biggest employer in the world, the biggest money spender, the richest business in the world, I mean, not in the world, in the United States, is the government. Biggest employer, biggest money spender, and they do affect, it's a trickle effect. And private sectors thrive off of government. So what happened? I had multiple government contracts. I had county contracts. I had state contracts at the time. I didn't have any federal contracts. But guess what they did? They cut the federal budget, which cut the county contracts and cut some of the state contracts. And all of it was all kind of aligned. So yeah, I didn't even know the writing was on the wall. I didn't even know there was an issue, because back then we didn't study the news or understand the news. Stuff just happened and you just figured it out. They wasn't so transparent like they are now. Like every day in our lives now, we look and watch the government. We just see this and we see that. But after that happened to me, when everything dried up and businesses start folding in, and then they start closing some of the other plants in other cities. I was in a city where they closed down 7 plants, and I had contracts with 3 and 4 of those plants. I'm talking about major plants, pharmaceutical companies. I'm talking about tire companies. I'm talking about candy companies. I'm talking about large companies. They just shut them down, period. So the city was hit so hard, in the area that I was hit so hard, you couldn't find a job within 100+ mile radius. There was no jobs. Everybody was out of work. People were scrounging trying to figure out what they wanted to do. People doing early retirement at age 45 and 50 years old. It was not a good situation. So I'm saying these things go in cycles, But when we go back to land, it probably, if I would have just invested more and bought more land, I could have let some stuff go and be like, well, I still got my spot out here. And I can get up maybe $10,000, $15,000 and get me a little knockabout RV or trail or something and roll it out there. Buy me some time. I could rack a few dollars, and then maybe in 3 to 4 months, I can survive. Or I could liquidate some of those pieces of properties and then let those go, because once again, property prices really didn't change that much even during the economic time. The only time you had a good drop in prices when you dealt with tax liens and foreclosures, which, yes, there was an increase in tax liens and foreclosure. Hint, hint, if you're younger and you're looking for during the time when the market really drops. But once again, how long does it take for a tax lien to hit? So imagine this. Just say we had 6 months of downturn in economic time. Just say from now to 6 months. All right. So somebody owns land and they can't pay their taxes. You know what that would mean? That would mean they didn't pay their taxes 2 years from now. Right? So that means they didn't pay their taxes in 2023, 2024. And then so now this the third year. So then they didn't pay their taxes this year. Then that means it would go up on the block come next year. The land could go up on the auction for next year. So think about that. Now imagine if I've been paying every single year, and then that 6 months impacted me. That means I just mixed my taxes this year. So you buy that tax lien, and you bid for the interest rate, and you hoping that they don't pay that next year, and then you pay that third year, then you own that piece of property, right? But if they come back and they pay that second year and they pay you plus the interest, you get your interest and your money you invested in, and then y'all walk away. So it's a win-win when it comes to a lot of time on tax liens. But that's a long game. Baby, don't nothing happen real quick when it comes to real solid investments. It takes time. Now, you can take a lot of chances. Higher the risk, the higher reward, they say, but also the higher the loss. But one thing about it, this stuff right here, they ain't making no more of it. And if you got an opportunity to get a piece of it, get a piece of it. Get a piece of it. Not only can you trade with it, not only can you use the natural resources with it, not only can you live on it, can you feed your family on it, you can protect yourself, you can do a lot of stuff with this tangible stuff. So remember, if the price is right, the location right, and you got the money, that's the best time to buy some land, period. In my humble opinion. I'm just gonna say my humble, not a professional opinion. What's going on, man? What's up? What's up? Be Rich, thank you so much. Appreciate you blessing the channel, blessing Eco Nation. Thank you, sir. What's up? What's going on? Hey, land owner right there. Land owner right there. We all doing that, Be Rich. We all doing that. So, fam, what we got? What we got? Food, forest, permaculture. Wind and solar power is living good. Hi, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah, and those are the things, make sure you got your mineral rights, make sure you got all there's so many crackdowns. Now, some people they oppose to certain things and certain legislation and different stuff like that. But the more we can, I see you land owner too, Belinda. What's going on? Bless up, bless up. Make sure that you put your infrastructure in. It's just like this. I probably won't never go totally solar. But this is the crazy thing. And this is the thing what turns a lot of people off. You don't have to put your whole soul and body and spirit into doing something. You don't, okay, I'll give you an example. You buy 5 acres, don't mean you got to have 5 acres cleared. You buy 5 acres, don't mean that you got to have a 4 or 5 acre farm. You buy 5 acres don't mean you have to fence the whole 5 acres. You kind of understand the process I'm going? You do some off-grid living don't mean you got to do it forever. Learn how to do it, buy some infrastructure, and do it. I got a cabin that's off-grid. So if we wanted to go off-grid, we can go in the cabin and we can live off-grid. But I got a house that's connected to the modern day conveniences. So now let's talk about this. Let's talk about real world. God forbid anything happen where I don't have income. I don't have no resource, right? Y'all give up on me. Y'all leave me. And all my other little stuff gives up on me and leave me, right? And my job and everybody else just leave me alone, right? I can go in my cabin and still live because I got solar power. I got battery power packs. Or if I want to pitch a tent on my land, I could take, y'all see my little solar. As a matter of fact, I'm using it right now. It's powering everything right here. I can take my little power station, my little solar panel, and we talking about maybe what we talking about, maybe $200 worth of supplies, and I got full power. Now I'm gonna have to be very mindful of the usage, which that's not a bad thing. This teaches us conservation. This teaches us that hey, you get up when the sun is up. And then you make sure that you charge and don't use nothing, and you get off the phone and you go find something else to do so you can charge your power station up. You know what I'm saying? This also allows you to go ahead and shut down in the middle of the night because you want to conserve your power. It teaches you discipline. Being off grid teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to organize. It teaches you also not to complain. It also makes you just not think about it. It makes you just go ahead and do it every night. I don't care what 2:30 at night, the generator goes off. If the weather is good, pull up enough gas for maybe 2 o'clock at night. The generator shuts down. We cooled off, and we might sweat a little bit when we wake up, and we power it back up. You know, if I didn't have electricity to power my well, I wired my own well, which likely got me in trouble, but I'm good. But I got it approved. I got all that stuff because I had to walk them through and show them that, hey, this is done correctly because it's done based on your specs. And they gave me the stamp of approval. But it got a little fishy in the beginning. But nevertheless, I put in a plug-in where I would disconnect from the electricity and I would plug my generator and power my well. Some people say, why didn't you put a hand pump? It's 125 feet. I get it. You grew up on the wells. I get all of this, but a shallow well is not a deep well. A shallow well is totally different from a deep well, fam. A lot of this stuff we move in ways and we have these dreams and we don't have people sharing realistic stuff with us. And any house that has a well, you can I wouldn't recommend, let me say that, but you have the capability of having a junction box and you can do a 30 amp plug. You can disconnect from the grid, put your 30 amp plug and run your water. Now, what happened? You need gas. I got cans of propane. How long the propane lasts? You know what? My next item will be big, large water containers because my goal is not to only just have rainwater, which I got some containers with rainwater. Y'all seen that, but I want more. But I want some nice large containers with rainwater, and I want to connect that to my well so I can have a water reserve. Y'all ever gone to them small cities and small towns? You see these big old things in the air, these big old metal things. Those are water. Those are nothing but water containers. They put them real high up so you can get water pressure. And when they put all the surplus water up there, they pump that surplus water up there. And then when you need water, the reason when you need water, you get that water pressure is because it's high up there and the water come down and you got good water pressure. This world, we make it hard. It's not that hard, fam. But if you get you some land and you start step by step, you'll see you'll become very independent. I listen to people, they say, yeah, you living in the boondocks in another country and you ain't got no water, you got a hole in the ground, you got this, and you ain't got no electricity, you ain't got this, you don't have that, and then you got to pay triple and double the price for those to be shipped in from whatever country, from another country. Then you get it and it looks a little bit used and it's not quite right. And I watch these people go through all this stuff in these countries, and I'm like, you haven't even given your own country a chance. You can learn the laws, the language here, and all of that. And it blows my mind because I'm like, at least try it here before you go somewhere else, because it's already hard. This thing ain't easy. Now you want language barrier, cultures, all of this other stuff, and you ain't even practice it here. And then I listen and I hear some of them, they say, yeah, we do it for about $4,000 a month. And I'm like, you could come and live in the country for less than $4,000 a month, paid for everything. If the price is right, you take your time, do your research, you find a great well digger, you find a good septic tank person, you find a good land clear, you work out some deals where you say, I ain't got but $200 this week. What can you do? He'll probably tell you, I can't even crank that thing up to come out there and clear that for that. Well, can we do something else? Can we work on, if I get this fire, can you go ahead and do this, and we can work on that, and we can do this, and then you can take this and you can have that. It will be amazed when you just start talking to people. Well, if you give me them logs over there, and I'll go ahead and get my truck over here, and if I can get those trees right there, and you let me get them trees, we could probably work that for $1,000. Okay. All right. Now you've been going in a hurry and you got the first estimate, you got the second estimate, you going to the top dog because they advertise, they look good online, because you're used to moving like you move in the city. You come out here in the country and you think you're moving the same way. Then you watch somebody on Facebook, somebody doing this, they got cool videos, they on YouTube, they doing all that, and they charge you $7,000, $8,000 with something you could have got for $1,500 by just getting to know your local community, talking to the people, interacting, asking questions. But if you go out here just bum rushing, this stuff start adding up, and you done spent so much of your revenue that now you got to seriously go back to work even harder than you did in the city. Just because you ain't patient. Just because you don't want to take your time. Just because you want that microwave overnight. It took us, year 3 years just to get here. I'm still working on the deck. I'm still working on my garden. I'm still working on my pond. I'm still working on trails. I'm still working on my cabin still. I ain't in a hurry. Because you know what? It's a lifetime of reward. It's a lifetime of tangible assets. These structures, unless, God forbid, a storm comes, are going to outlast me. Long as I'm gone, it's still going to be here. Why am I busting my behind trying to kill myself to do this and do that, instead of taking my time, learning as I go, developing skill sets, getting better as I go, and being inspired and motivating me every single day to keep on going, It just takes time and patience. And you'll start watching and watching. Sometimes I go back and look at some of the old videos, I'm like, wow, I guess it has gone. We have made strides. We had made movements. I do remember when that was like that. Man, I do remember. And it's like some days out here on this property, I might spend 7 hours just picking up sticks in one section. You see this? You see this behind me? Just this one section right here. Probably took me months to get this clean up underneath these trees. Took me months. Just picking up sticks, picking up debris, cutting, trimming the low-hanging branches. Then taking it, piling it up, burning it. Ain't you gonna keep some firewood? Man, I got enough wood. I don't need no firewood. I- out here is real. Life is real. You know, you get up underneath here, and then you realize it's a root here. You gotta dig that root up, or you gotta just cut it and then put your wood pile on top of the root and just burn on top of it and work that out. Then you go down to the next stump. Then you go down to the next stump. Then you work on when the grass start growing and the weeds start growing, then you work on trying to clear it out enough where you can put your zero turn on there, and then you work it through there. It takes time, and we talking about seasons. Like it's getting ready to change seasons. So everything getting ready to grow out here, and it's getting gonna get hot. So all these outdoor projects and a lot of this other stuff, it start going to a sleep mode. And then you go into maintain mode. Now it took me a couple of years to learn that because my foolish behind be out here at 107 degrees and 199 degrees out here trying to burn piles and chop wood because I was overzealous. I was just lack of wisdom. I remember when I grew up and my uncle, the first experience in cleaning and clearing land, my uncle bought a piece of property and I was a jit, and he had one of his coworkers who was one of his best friends. He was an older guy, and he'll be up there. He didn't move fast. He didn't move, but what he did, he moved consistent. I remember we were digging a trench to his neighbor property because his neighbor was an older man. He'd been there for a long time. Man, I'm talking about a long time. He had an old wooden house sitting off the ground. He did not have running water at his house, but we had one of them pumps. But my uncle bought a well and he strategically put it kind of in between his property and his neighbor's property because they got along real good. My uncle ended up buying that land after he passed. But what we did, we dug a trench, and the guy said, I don't want running water in my house. I just want on my back stoop. If I get on my back stoop, I'm good. And that's all we put in there because that's all he wanted. He just wanted a faucet right there at his back porch that he could cook and do whatever he need to do because he grew up doing this and he spent all his life doing that. And that lets you know how country and how deep in the country we were. And I remember we was digging a trench and it was, I don't know how many feet it was. But I remember we was digging the trench by hand. And I was a young man full of energy. And the old man told me, he said, boy, the rate you going, you ain't gonna make it to lunchtime. I said, what you talking about? Man, you going so slow. What's going on with you? And we was out there digging pickaxe and shovel and pickaxe and shovel. And he get on pickaxe for a while. I get on shovel for a little while. And we just going and we going. And I'm waiting on him like, man, will you come on? And then when he get finished, he'll break it all up. Then I come up there and I shovel on out. And I get there and I start sit back and wait on him and I shovel on out. Man, about 10 o'clock, I was done. That man ended up working out there about 4 o'clock. I had left, came back, got a snack, went down the road to my house, ate some, sat down a little bit, came back. He was still on there. He was still on it. That's the same way it is when you get out here with the raw land. Be consistent. Take your time. Pace yourself. Because it doesn't matter out here how many resources you have and all of that. You watch so many. Have you ever seen a in the city? I see this all the time. It'll be number woods. And then they'll go in, especially I can't speak nowhere else in Florida. They'll go in, they'll dig out the woods, they'll cut out everything, and boy, that Florida rain will come in and it look like the whole neighborhood flooded where they're gonna put all the water at. I mean, where all the houses at. And then next thing you know, they bring in excavation, and then they bring in some motor. Then next thing you know, they channel the water out and they put all the piping in there to get the water, and then they put pumps out there, and then they start building, bring in field dirt to level it up and build it up, and then they bring it back down. And next thing you know, a little bit more rain come down, and then they got to redo the whole thing, and then they come back, and eventually they'll tame it down and they'll get it together. Then they'll start building and they construct it. Sometimes some of the houses, because I'll be riding my bike or walking through some of the neighborhood, and I'll be like, that house gonna flood. those houses are gonna flood. Now those townhouses, they're gonna have water now. And you could just tell. You can just tell. And then when it comes time for our little area to get sandbags and stuff like that, they tell me about where they live at. I said, yeah, I already knew. Because they trying to get it. They got the resource, they got the money. Then they overspend their budget. Then now they in a rush to get people in there. Then they jack up the prices a little bit more than what the starting price was going to be. And this is what we pay for day after day after day after day. Instead of taking our time, going through the process, watching the trends, watching the patterns, because nature going to win. I don't care how much money. I don't care how much infrastructure you got. I don't care. Even Hoover Dam got cracks in it. Well, they were meant to be there. Yeah, right. If they had their way, and I guarantee they still do work on it. I don't live. There's a dam not too far from. There's plenty of dams in Florida, but they always working on it. Cause nature gonna win every time. Every time nature gonna win. Everything we touch and we feel is corruptible. So mentally in your head, everything you work for 20, 30, 40 years is corruptible. You don't fall in love with stuff. You fall in love with experiences, and you fall in love with the nature and the humanality of people. Because everything you touch is gonna be corruptible. Oh, okay. Let's go. Let me get back in here, fam. Let me see what's going on. Learning new skills will make your life comfortable. I think that's the overall goal. We just want to be comfortable sometimes. Loam soil. Sound like you talking about some water. What's going on? Loam soil and silt. All of these different things, because you got clay content. We got clay down here. We got sand, but we got clay too. And it's different types of clay. We also have septic tanks, not here on my land, because I made sure there's certain areas that I wouldn't buy land. The land is cheaper, but it's cheaper for a reason. And just look at the people. Sometimes you just look at. Sometimes you ain't even gotta be curious about land. Just ride around certain areas that you're unfamiliar with, and you see certain things. These loud jacked up trucks and this. I'm not gonna do that. It's just certain things you understand why the land is cheaper, because you go ride through there. Especially in Florida, I can't talk about it anywhere else, but North Florida, you can ride through some of these rural areas, and you'll see these big old mounds in the yard. These ain't Indian mounds. They ain't no burial grounds. It's not like around Macon, Georgia, where you got them Native American mounds. Take care, baby. Love you. It's none of that, right? They septic tanks. They sit in the septic tank, and they got to get a pump to pump that, you know what, up into there. Because the soil and the seepage of it, and it just will flood over if they put it on the ground. So they got to put it higher and let nature take its course to break some of that solids down to create liquids, and then it flows out. And then the sand will do its filtration, and the clay and the sand will do its filtration duty. That's why you got to get soil tests. Don't just go out there and willy-nilly and go and just say, I'm going to do this, and then you do this and you do that. You're going to have to get soil testing. When you get the soil testing, they're going to do a perk test. When they do the perk, they're going to tell whether, how, what kind of design. You also, when it comes to septic tanks, some people say, I got a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I'm going to need a gigantic septic tank. You ain't going to need no more than a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Because they don't go by bedrooms. Oh, I got a 2-bedroom, 3-bath little bungalow I'm building. I want a half a bath for the guests, and then I got 2 bedrooms with 2 master suites on it. I'm gonna build that out there. That's what I want to build out here, y'all. I want to build me a nice bungalow with a nice little wraparound porch, tucked away back in the trees over there. And I want to kind of sitting up where I can just look out there and just yeah. But anyway, you need a bigger septic tank than a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or your drain field might need be more or longer. It's just certain things you learn as you do things. And it's good to know this because you don't want nobody getting you, because they will get you. And I do recommend, if you plan on putting multiple structures out there, don't get a septic tank and you're trying to tie into that septic tank. Don't get a small septic tank. Don't get the minimum required septic tank. They digging it up. One thing about infrastructure and construction and all of that, cough up the extra $2 to $3 to $5 to $1,000, because it costs too much to bring them back out there to redo it or to add to it or to do another one. Go ahead. If somebody clearing the lot, like Gigi said, I want that cleared. Since y'all got the equipment out here, let's go ahead and get that cleared. Let's go and get that part right there cleared for the house. Best decision she ever made. No, I ain't gonna say that, because you do have me anyway. But that was a great decision, because for a fraction of the cost that we had to come back there and bring them back out with the equipment, paying for the time and the diesel and unload and offload, it would have been much, much more. It was so much cost. It was so cost effective to go ahead and get them to do that while he was here. And then from that point on, it was on. Every time I got them out here, I was like, okay, by the way, go ahead and knock that down. How much you since we out here, get just a couple of $100. Take a couple of $100, knock out that little row right there. Oh, can you widen that little bit right there? Oh yeah, that'll be about another 500. Okay. Bet. Because you learn these things by taking your time, doing your due diligence, and walking through. Therefore, I bought 5 acres of pine forest in 2021 in North Florida and paid it off last year. Bam! I love it. And you know what? It's yours. It ain't it's yours. And just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. You got your own personal getaway. Can you imagine? It's almost like this. I can remember when I still do a little bit. But I used to go hard, collect coins. And then I would go and buy these fancy books, and I place them in the books, and I'll flip through the books, and every now and then I take them and I slide it out, and I'll take a look at it, get my little magnifying glass and look at it and read some of the inscription and look at the detail, and I hold it up there and I touch it and I flip it and I put it right back in that coin book, and I close the book and I put the book back up. The same thing you can do with your land. Even if you say, I'm not at the point where I'm ready to move. I'm 20 years old. I don't know if I want to live here. That's fine. But it's a tangible asset. And if you're 20 years old, I guarantee you, whatever you paid for it in 30 years, it ain't going to be the same price. Matter of fact, if you can hold it for that long, because your letter's going to be coming in, because they send letters at least once every month or once a month with offers. Some of them, they stupid. But if you don't ask, you don't know. I could be hard up right now. Or I could have been gone and my kids be like, $20,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. I could probably use that. Because I got to pay about $300-$400 a year for taxes. But you mean to tell me I could get $60,000 cash, even though it's worth $120,000? They ain't thinking that. They thinking $60,000 in cash. So that's why I say sometimes you might want to go and just send out some letters and see if they willing to sell. If you want to give them a little bit under market value or recent sales, you never can tell. They wouldn't be doing it if they weren't successful with it. Trust me, they wouldn't be doing it. Lived in a tent and an RV for a year while I developed. God bless to you, my friend. And in order to do that, I mean, that's what we did. We lived in an RV. my one of my good friends, he got well over, ooh, he got almost 300 acres, right? Y'all seen him on my YouTube a year or two ago. I was out at his place, and I remember this guy lived in a tent. Him and his wife lived in a tent. Then he built a little lean-to. Then I think, yeah, he got an RV. He got a real cheap little RV, and he still worked every day. He went to work. You wouldn't think this guy, but he slowly built that portfolio of all that land. It probably started out about 30, 40 acres or something like that. But he just slowly, and then shoot, he got a beautiful, nice two-story house sitting back up in there. Um, you look at all the work he's done over the years, it's like, wow, this is what happens when you just be patient, take your time, and it's all paid for. It's all paid for. So imagine in Florida. I know y'all. The reason why I keep saying in Florida because everybody is so different. I can go just 100 miles, 50 miles across the line. I can go to Alabama. I can go to Georgia, Mississippi. I can go to New York, North Carolina. Everything is totally different. The time, the process, the permitting, everything is different. Here, a lot of stuff deals with environmental issues. A lot of stuff deal with air quality, water quality. A lot of stuff deal with zoning. A lot of stuff deal with like impact studies and because it's a different beast. It's a different market. You get so many people from all over the world that moves to this state. So, but I'm just saying, imagine almost 300 acres sitting nestled, and we talking about wooded. We got some field. He has some field, acreage of field, but most of it just nice, prime wooded. Because he slowly bought it from corporations. And see, I have followed his pattern by talking and interacting with people. He bought the land from St. Joe's Paper Company. St. Joe's Paper Company had thousands of acres, still owns a lot of acres and commercial property. But at one time, corporations just came in and just bought tons of land all over North Florida. And it got to the part where they no longer had a local plant. And it went for years and decades. And then all of a sudden they start selling big parcels of land. And he just slowly grabbed maybe 30, 40 acres here, 30, 40 acres next to there, get a little bit more down the road. And then he just slowly built it over the years. Started out in his mid 30s. And now he's 60 something. But imagine this. You wake up and you 20 years old or you 30 years old, and your dad or your mom says, here's 100 acres. Here's 200 acres. Here's 5 acres. Here's 10 acres. How much? For free. Here. Well, I don't want to live here. It's still yours. You go off to college. You go do your career. You may go to New York, Paris. You go to all Hawaii and this and that. And then you come back from time to time, come home, and you think about the memories you had, and you look at that land and you start looking at things different. You raise a family, and then you've been in the city all your life, and all of a sudden you just want to kind of slow down a little bit. You want to take a breather. And then now you sitting here at your million, 400, $300,000 home, and you got 100 acres over here. And you saying, not only is it in Florida, but it's 100 acres. I got 100 acres. I could probably sell 30 or 40 acres, and it'll pay for me building my house. Then if I sell my house, that's pure cash on top of that. It changes generational wealth. It changes lives. It changes where you are in life and where your kids and your kids' kids, or the people that's important to you, or if it's some people donated to nonprofits, some people just donated to maybe people that they been connected to. But it's a gift that keeps on giving, though, fam. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Uh, I was 34 and now 35 and bought another 6.5 of pine forest that connects behind me. I love it. Man, buy the whole block. Buy the whole block. Buy the whole freaking block. Get you as much space as you can. I'm telling you. How does the wealthiest people all own land? Don't matter where they stay at. Ted Turner, he's still a wealthy landowner, but now his kids are now managing his land, help manage his land because he understands that natural resources will not be plentiful. You're going to have fake stuff to keep people sustained. Water is going to be worth more than any crypto, any stocks. Water deals with your health, your mind, your body, and your soul. And if you don't believe me, there's a thing called baptism. Water is important. Even when we entered into this world, we came out of water. Water will be the greatest currency of all currencies. Now, if we got nothing but limestone out here, filtration system. That's why we have beautiful springs all around us. We at the basin. Part of my property is the basin of a water spring. We have caverns and springs and all this beautiful water, and it will be very valuable. And you think you can't have your water? Man, I ain't even gonna say that because now I'm talking about survival. Now people paying $2 and $3 and $5 for a bottle of water. I watched my daughter pay. I forgot what she paid for that water. And coconuts, man. If my weather would do well, boy, coconut water is outrageous. I mean, real coconut water. I ain't talking about bootleg coconut water, but real coconut water. That's what's gonna happen. That's why I say if you're 45 and 60, start right now because you got to put the trees in there. If they're not already in there. They got to mature. They got to produce. You got to put all your infrastructure because nothing is worse than you. Well, I think I'll do it when I retire. I think I'll start buying me some land probably when I get 62, 63, and then I'll buy me some land and I'll build me a house, build me a little house out there and do this. You are going to need, when all this stuff is cut, all these aids and all this other stuff cut, you're going to need good food, sustainability. You're going to need some natural herbs. You're going to need some water. Even if you ain't got no lights. One thing I learned about this off-grid living, when we first got out here, we didn't have no water. We didn't have no electric. We didn't have no pooping potties. We didn't have no nothing. And out of all of that, the most important thing was it was hot and it was cold. It was wet and it was muggy. But out of all of that, the most important thing to life sustainability that I definitely learned and I respect was water. If you don't have any water and you live a year and a half without no water, it'll do this to you. What are you thinking? What are you doing? You don't even realize how much you use water. You don't even know how you feel being dehydrated until you don't have no water. Even your car won't run without no water. You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you wash your crevices, and you limit on water. You just got just enough water because you done stocked up on water, and then you got all these water bottles all over the place, and you got all of this, and then you paying all this much for water, and water prices just like through the roof. And you think they through the roof now? Wait, fam. Water is gonna be so important in the future. Good, clean water, not just any kind of water, but good, clean water. I paid $70K. My property is now worth $250K. All I hear is wind. My vacant land is not registered as a homestead. All all I hear is wind. I don't hear no stress. Don't wait. Hey man, don't wait. Don't wait. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Ain't nothing like up here in North. People be slipping. And let them keep sleeping on North Florida, man. North Florida give you the best of both worlds. Y'all saw the snow. Then 80 degrees today. This is coming off. You know what I'm saying? I did this because it's just airish and I ain't got nothing up underneath. That's the only reason. Florida will soon get rid of profit. Oh, I'm Vertica's out on that. Oh, I mean, I feel you. I feel you. That's a nice thought, and we got a governor that want to leave a legacy. He want to go out with a bang. I get it. I get it. But that's a lot of revenue, and he might meet a lot of opposition with that, man. Cause them counties and them counties and them cities, they're gonna stand up, cause they commingling stuff. I mean, that's where they get. We might well all do private school. We're gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? All these schools and yeah. I mean, money got to come from somewhere. And I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying we don't have enough smart people to come up with this. Whether they do it through tourism, whether they do it just from tolls or food tax, because we don't pay taxes on uncooked food in Florida. So if you go to the grocery store and anything that you pay for this uncooked or unprocessed, I guess I don't know, it's kind of squirrely. You don't pay taxes. But now anything like cooked food or anything like that, you pay your tax. So they might bring back that. They might hike up some fuel taxes because we do pay pretty good in fuel tax. One thing about Florida, we pay good. We pay higher fuel tax. You can go just cross the line, which I often do. I go to Georgia to get some gas. I go to Alabama sometime to get some gas. For some of my fuel consuming big vehicles. It just cost effective. And my containers. Make sure I take my containers when I go. Raw land, what's going on? You moved from Miami. Okay. That's a big change. That's a big change. Yeah, my dad was in Miami. I know all about that Miami, boy. It depends on where you are, though. Raw land is definitely a different beast. It's different. What's going on, Queen? Good to see you. Good to see you. Many blessings. Bless up, bless up. Appreciate that info, though. Thank you for sharing, Balfour. Appreciate you sharing your experiences. And it's basically in line with what I've been saying, fam. He's speaking from experience. Good Eats Homestead, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm getting ready to get out of here, fam. Y'all don't have any questions, no comments. I'm gonna slide on out of here on this beautiful Friday. High and dry land is what I'm on. That is gold if you are in Florida. High and dry is the answer. There is no other landlocked property. Is it worth getting an easement if the price is right? Oh, that's an excellent, excellent question. Ooh, that's an excellent question. Most of the time, not all the time, landlocked property is at a very, very affordable price. Most of the time. But it's at a good price for a reason. Some people move to the country to get away from people, or as many people. Some people go to the country to be free and unbothered. And some people, they do totally opposite. I don't mind being in the country. I just want a little bit of land. I don't mind people. You got to make all of these decisions need to go through your head when you're dealing with landlocked property. Because landlocked property means you got somebody, boom, right there to the right there in front of you, right there on the side, right there in the back of you. And you got to ask them for permission to get out of there or into there on your land. You may risk. I wouldn't recommend buying it or touching it until I could get a confirm in writing from somebody, a true easement. But just remember, you got one way in and one way out, and you got to go through somebody's property. And remember, if they do give you an easement, which, quote, give, a lot of easement you have to pay for because the landowner loses the rights a lot of time to that land. And this is the reason why I say there's so much footage too of that easement. If you do talk to somebody about it, make sure you got enough foot easement to bring materials to your land. Do not shortchange yourself. I've heard of people got 6 foot, 10 foot easements. Yeah, they can drive a car now, maybe can drive a truck. But if they had to build a house, they had to bring a septic tank back there, they had to bring well equipment, they had to bring a skid steer with a tractor and a trailer, they had to bring a modular home, they had to bring a pole barn or rafters, or make sure if you do get the easement, get it wide enough, not just for your current situation, but for future situations too. And some of the emergency vehicles, some of them are very large. Sometimes you don't really realize it until I remember one time I had an emergency vehicle come back here and it barely made it back here. And it had to go so slow because I didn't build some of my, that's why I widened and tore down a lot of, I had some stuff hidden, but I had to open up my property more because I had to think about that thing. I was like, man, sometimes you don't realize how big a fire truck is when it's trying to get onto your land. Even an ambulance is wider than an average truck. It's wide. Is your driveway suitable for heavy vehicles like that? Not only that, you're gonna have to maintain that easement. You're gonna have to be responsible for that easement. And some landowners don't want you on their land. Then you also got to think about this. You want to get it in writing, recorded at the courthouse. I've seen people who bought a piece of land, they had a driveway, which, quote, was an easement. But I can give you a personal story where I heard there was a property that sat in the back, landlocked property of another property, had a driveway. The driveway went on the border of those two pieces of property. At one time, everybody was family members. One family member passed, another family member passed. They sold the property. New owners came in there. That easement been there for years. That person with the landlocked property sold the property, and they wanted to shut the easement down because the new owners of the properties in front didn't like that driveway coming up through their property borderline. They didn't record it in deed. They didn't record it in right. Went through a bunch of legal, it can be messy. And do you really want to be locked back in, your back pressed against people that don't want you there? So that's why I say same thing when it goes back to paying for services. This investment, you don't want to shortcut it. Remember I say location? There's nothing wrong with it if you got the documentation. There's nothing wrong with it if you got the stuff put in place. But if you don't have the stuff put in place, and then you buy the land, and then your expectations is to move forward in a certain way, sometimes you're stuck. And you can't even get to your own land unless you get somebody at the airplane drop you in that bad boy. That's a bad situation to be in. So do your research first. That's the same thing with some people. They don't think about this. I like this piece of land, but it's not zoned for what I want to do with the land. Or some people say, I'm buying this agriculture land. Oh yes, but what kind of agriculture land? You can't do the same thing with timberland that you can do with cattle land. You can't do the same thing you do with cropland as you do with timberland. You might say, I'm going to set up me a fruit stand or a store, and it's agriculture, all this agriculture. But if you got a certain zone agriculture land, they will deem that. The county may say, no, you need to rezone that section and get approval to get that little piece of parcel. So that means you need to get a survey to cut that all out. You need to ask for permitting. You got to post signs for so much period of time. You got to go down to the county, ask commissioners for permission. Hopefully there's no neighbors that say, no, I don't want this to be a commercial spot. So don't just think that because you're out there in the country, you just do whatever you want to do. Because they can come knocking at your door and shut you down. I've seen it happen too many times. Yeah, you get away a year, you get away 2 years, then that thing get to popping and get good. And remember what I say, just like back in the days, so what you doing, say? Looking for something to get into. What you doing over there, Thomas? I don't like them cars down on that road. They got a little cookout spot down there. They've been down there for a while. I really don't like all the traffic and it's messing up the birds. And we used to have birds that walk through here, and we used to have wild turkeys, and we used to have, but now all this traffic for this little fruit stand right here, it ain't even zoned for that. I'm going to report them. I'm just saying. Not to say it happens, but it could happen. I'm just saying it could happen. So make sure your dreams align with documentation. Because if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. Didn't happen. What they say? The difference between the Native Americans and African Americans, they got it in writing and we didn't. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. A trickle-down effect. What's up, Culture and Hustle 101? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I it's nice. I would like for them to get rid of property taxes. I really would. I just don't know the likelihood in that, because that is a big that's a money generating. And I look at what they're doing with rezoning to try to make it like you might not know my story, you might be new to the channel on Belfort, but they changed when we was out here RVing. We didn't have to have no permit really. We could be out here. But then it was so much of a movement to Florida at one time, and other counties wanted to be like other counties. Then they started putting restrictions on living in an RV permanently. You know what I'm saying? Then they said, now you need a permit to live in an RV. And all of this stuff is trying to push you to build a house. They don't want you staying in your cars. They don't want you staying in a little lean-to, little tents, or none of that. They want you to build a structure, build a house. And then when you build a house, guess what you have? Higher property taxes, because that's how they can afford to exist. That's how they can afford to operate. That's how they can afford their salaries. So there's big pushes here in the state of Florida to stop people living cheap. And they'll say, it's for your safety. Like, I'm not a freaking adult. I've been here for 50 years. I've been in Florida for quite the majority of my adult. If I see a hurricane coming, I can go get in a hotel. I can go to Georgia. I can go somewhere. I got enough sense. And if I say I want to tough it out, I'm an adult. There's accountability. It's called death. It's not hard. It's not hard. But that kind of go back with the retirement. You're not adult enough to handle your own retirement, to handle your own money, your funds. But I'm talking about land. Let me stay on land. There we go. Rob in the garden. There's only been talks of getting rid of property taxes in Florida, but until it's on paper, it's not happening no time soon. But it would be a blessing to all of us property owners. Let me tell you. Then, do you really own your land if you ain't got to pay no taxes? All them naysayers say, well, you don't own the land, you got to pay taxes. Yeah, but taxes. You don't own your car, you got to buy a license plate. You don't own your car, you got to get insurance. I got about 4 cars out here I can show you I own. And I ain't paying no insurance, I ain't paying no tax. Now, do they drive on the main road? Rural road? I mean trails. Yeah, my trails, whatever. But When I want to put them on the road, I do all of that stuff. But most people that say that stuff, they don't own nothing. They don't. They have not paid the lending or the lease office or the apartment office or the landlord. They haven't finished that. They still doing it. Because I'm telling you, it hits different. Paying taxes versus mortgage, taxes, and insurance, it hit different. If I had to tell every homeowner right here in this chat, all of a sudden I'm going to abolish your mortgage and all you got to pay is taxes and insurance. Man, life be hitting different. That's a great way to look at it. Early to bed, yeah, early right. Man, I'm gonna be way up here because I talked about that a while ago. That part, sharing realistic stuff with a. Appreciate that, Lee. What's going on, Lee? Good to see you. Don't think I've seen you before. Like that icon. I need to know the truth about stuff. Sad. I'm in California and we are scrambling to buy land here. It's about to be a bloodbath once people figure out this. The prices have gone for some properties 75% markup on land. Yeah, because and it's gonna be even more right now too, Lee. I hate to tell you that, and this is why I say you can't look at the market. You can't look at the market right now because imagine this: if you got that kind of money, that real money, and people say you hear about these rich people, we taking the money out of the market. Think about this. Okay, say you super wealthy. And you taking a percentage, they don't take it all out. And they do dollar cost averaging too. Don't get it twisted. They're gonna ride some highs and ride some low out of some of it. But imagine if you had to take $1 billion and you still got multi-billion dollars, and you had to take $1 billion out of the stock market or the crypto. Where would you put it? What you gonna buy? You ain't gonna put it typically because they don't trust the stock market because the stock market is tied to what? The banks, the lending institutions, right? So where is a safe place you're gonna put it? Think about it. Where's a safe place you're gonna put it? I'm gonna wait for a little bit. Where would be a safe place you take $1 billion and put it? Where you can say, okay, this is a holding place that I can put my money and sit it here for a while and don't take a big hit and don't take a big loss. Some people may say, I'm going to do precious metals. They ain't going to put all the here. They might put portions of it. Some people say, I'll put it in bonds. Okay, all right. But a lot of them going to put it in land. So, Lee, what you competing against is these big investors, these big corporations. They send their money in a safe place and they buying up land. Because guess what happens? They can sit on that land and it's a tangible asset. They can borrow against it the same way they do stocks. They can leverage against it without touching it and still own the piece. When you own a piece of land, you can go and borrow money. You can use it for collateral and you still sit here. You still own the land. All you have to do is buy the time and be able to either make the payments or the balloon payments at the end of certain terms. They do all kind of fancy stuff. And then what they do, they can sit it there and they can find like businesses to invest in. They're going to find tangible stuff. When the market gets crazy, when the market gets low, they shift their core to tangible assets. Touch, feel, smell. They're going to start certain businesses. But most of the time, they're going to invest in businesses that's tied to what? Remember, when all of us is broke, who do you think is the last one to be broke? Even wealthy people. Who's going to be the last one to be broke? Government. Because remember, they're getting a little something out of everybody, whether it's fair share, indifferent. Whether some pay more, some people pay less. They getting something off of everybody. So they start investing in corporations that doing contracts. They know where the trends because they vomit in every move they make before they make it. So they giving insider information. They telling every government employee has to sign a non-compete. They have to sign non-conflict. They have to take ethics training. They have to do so many annual trainings of that. And all of that stuff is blown out the window the moment when you say, so what, you got a felony? We're going to give you security clearance. We're going to give you the power. We're going to give you the key to the nukes. So what, you got a few felonies? So what? So what, you bring in him and her and them and them? We're going to let you do whatever you want to do. So now the conflict of interest is out the window. The non-compete is out the window. The ethics is out the window. Then guess what you do? You're going to know the market is not going in a favorable position. You always shift your business to government. Now, if you shift it to government and certain government contracts, which you get the inside knowledge on what they're getting ready to spend, it used to be where you had to wait and listen. Now you get a press conference every day. They strategically telling you to move. We're going to invest in this. We're going to cut the budget here. We're going to invest in this. We're going to invest in borders. Oh, you're going to invest in borders. Oh, okay. So what construction company building the borders got contracts? What bids are out there? Oh, detainee centers. What private prisons? What transportation businesses? Where the land at? Where are they going to invest in? Let me go to this company and find out where are they looking at building and expanding more. Let me invest in all of this. Is information. You just got to think about money. Just think about money. It's spending, and it could be a recession all day long, but it's going to continue to spin and spin and spin. We're doing space exploration. We're doing this. Oh, what components goes into this? What components goes here? Oh, one thing about it, when people get broke, what do they want to do? They want to gamble, they want to drink, and they want to eat, and sometimes party. Oh, let me shift my portfolio a little bit more to foods, beverage companies. Oh, what happens when the economy declines? There's a big need for what? Healthcare, because people are stressed. People are not eating well. People not taking care of themselves. So guess what? Companies going to prosper during economic downturn? Health-related business. Oh, now I'm finna shift my portfolio to some of this. They know the game. It's a cycle. It just keep going over and over and over and over. And if you don't watch the cycle, you don't study the cycle, you don't listen to what they're telling you, you don't hear what they're telling you, because people be like, oh, these are bad. It's going to be a lot of new billionaires after this. Trust me. You're going to have a lot of suffering, but you're going to have more billionaires that's going to be new to the table that's going to come, because they are going to position themselves. They're going to pull out, hold, and wait and be like sharks when the opportunity comes. It's the same cycle, same game, just different players, same game. Some of them got old, they out the game. Some of them still in the game. And now we got new ones. And now we're going to have future shifting leaders. It's the same process. Everything is the same. Ain't nothing new. Yes, it's extremely high in Cali. I look, sometimes I go and I look at different places all over the world and look at prices. And I'd be like, man, the prices on. What's up, Lisa DM? What's going on? I was wondering how you cleared the stumps. Depends on where. Whenever you Queen, if you okay, there's different types of land clearing, fam. You got different types of land clearing. I'm going to try to jump out of here in about 15 minutes, about 2 hours in. But when it comes to land clearing, you have where you're going to build a structure, like a house. That's a different type of land clearing. Then you have like clear cut. Clear cut is like they're harvesting the wood, but they leave the roots there. They're just cutting it. They're cutting it at the ground level, right? Then you have like trails, and you have different types of cut. Like if you're doing trails and stuff like that, and it depends on how big the wood is. If you got little saplings and stuff like that, you could just cut at ground level and then kind of dig some of the roots up as you go, like lot of my trails sometimes I get my little rake or my little my what it is grader, and I put some rake attachments on there. And if it's like thin, small trees, I just go and push them down, and me and Annabelle will go down through there. And we'll navigate and turn and twist, and we'll build some trails. But when it came to the house, I have to bring in the big guns. When it came to the certain things, I have to bring in the big guns. The well, the septic tank. I need roots. I can't have no roots, can't have no stumps, can't have no nothing. So any infrastructure, real infrastructure, pay the price to get the stumps, the roots, and everything. Because the worst thing you want to do is 3 to 5 years later, you didn't get the roots up, you didn't get all of that up, and then you got it nearby your septic tank, and now like just say you did it in the wintertime, and then you look in this spring, you see some little shoots coming up on some of them roots and them stumps because that tree ain't dead. That tree's not dead. And also landscaping, when you get ready to do your landscaping, all that, if you're not used to septic tank, you're not used to having your own, because remember, you your own utility person when you out here on pieces of land, raw land. So it's not no calling city. Hey, city, my water line busted, or last night it froze in my lot. You are the city. So what you want to do, you want to get all the roots in your out the way. If you laying down on water, sewage, electrical, all of that, you want to get roots and everything up. So I get this guy that pretty much did the majority of all my clearing, and he knows other people that got different equipment, and sometimes he uses some of them. But you got to make sure you get excavating equipment where they can just go in there and dig up by the roots. They'll pick up these pines, they'll get that clamp on there, they'll dig up on there, they'll push it down. And a lot of these pines, what I like about clearing pines, I clear some of these pines with Annabelle. I have to be strategic. So I'll wait till we get a good hard rain when it's raining and misty. And what I do, just say we get a day or two of number consistent rain. I go there, and me and Annabelle get down there, and we'll get to pushing. And then I'm trying to push it at a level probably about 6 feet off the ground. And I try to push it up by the root. Most of the time I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. Then I got to go digging around it, just working it. Some of these trees, it's going to take me maybe a year or so to go ahead and finally push down. That's why I say the patient got to come in. Some of you'll see they like this. I've been pushing them, but they don't want to fall. So, and I don't want to cut them with a chainsaw because I'm using the height of that tree as leverage. I might have to deal with a little, man, I don't want to see that tree leaning like that. I don't want to see, but that's fine. A lot of people say, you're going to cut it. Yeah, the tree going to get got. The tree going to get got. So it might be the next rainy season. In the next rainy season, me and Annabelle will go for a little pushing game. And guess what happened? Poof. Push it with root and all. Then I get my grappler, grab that bad boy, stack it somewhere, cut it up with a chainsaw, and we good. We good. So some people, they you can go out there and get on the land and cut it and this and that and leave the stumps and let the stumps rot out, this and that. But it really depends on where you're doing, anywhere where I'm thinking about homestead for structure, solid structure, infrastructure. I go ahead and just pay to get somebody to just go ahead and pull it up. Because it can be dangerous too. They got the equipment they use. What's up, Shy? There goes Shy. Good to see you, Shy. Hey, Shy. Good to see you. Good to see you. LGG. What's good? What's good? That's happening near me now. Man, I'm so behind, man. I'm so behind. Let's see. For building. I think permits or something. Remember they were running the pipes through the indigenous sacred lands over 4 years ago. The lands are crying out. I don't even want to talk about what they're doing over there in Tallahassee, man. They got a whole burial ground. They digging all around, It's I mean, one thing about it, progress gonna happen when it comes to man. Man gonna figure out a way. Progress will happen when it comes to man. I have to have water. That's water. It's a must have. It's a must have. To me, that's the first infrastructure piece. After you clear your land, and if you can get on your land, it's fine. Let me tell you, camping is cool. Camping is cool. Ain't nothing wrong with camping. But if you don't have no water or water source, camping no longer become cool. And I'm talking about if you living out there. Because weekend, day or two camping is not like 6 months, a year, 2 years camping. Don't get that twisted. When you out there a year and a half before you get water, it ain't the same, fam. I'm talking about every day. I ain't talking about like, okay, I stay here 2, 3 days and I'm gone. Every single day. And then don't have animals. Just dumb. I don't know. Just uneducated. We were just uneducated. Don't have animals. Trees you trying to keep alive, and it's 100 degrees. You know, it's 100, 110, 107, 99 degrees in the morning time, and you got a bunch of trees, a bunch of herbs and vegetables, and no water. And what happens is Murphy sits in your lap. Now, normally here up in Florida, you get an evening shower. But just so happened about that year, there were hardly no showers at all. I'm thinking, yeah, I get my buckets, I got my water catchments, I put this over here, and then I'm gonna get a shower every evening, get this and that. Man, off-grid living, you if you don't see nothing after you read your Bible, the next thing you're gonna do is look at the weather report because you want to know what this weather gonna be like and what this day gonna bring. Is it 2 o'clock? I mean, it's gonna be 20 degrees this night. I need to get everything wrapped up, put up. I need to make sure because nothing worse than having you living in an RV and it's 19, 18 degrees out there and your sewage is frozen and your water hose is frozen and your pipe is frozen. So you can't do 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 nothing because you frozen. And if you think an RV and insulated good, woo! Yeah. All of that, fam. All of that. It's all good though. It taught me a lot. Taught me a lot. If you find that it floods in certain areas on your land, will you putting in trenches help with the flooding? That's gonna depend. That's gonna depend. My question is, if you have enough land, like we got an area where I guarantee you it'll probably flood. That's why I'm digging the dry pond. I call it a dry pond because we ain't there yet. It's work in progress. But down there, it stays moist. It stay real moist. But I won't build there. I might build walkways. That's about the only thing I build. Maybe a floating walkway. But if you can help it, if you do have wet, moist, low-lying areas on your land, shift your place to the highland. As my good friend said, highland. I'm going highland all the way. You want to build on highland. You want to put everything on highland. I wouldn't put my well on lowland. I put my well on highland. Some people say now it doesn't mean it has to be the highest point. Let me make sure I say this right. It doesn't have to be the highest point on your land, but I want my well on an upland, if that makes sense. Like I have my well here. Just say my well is in front of me, my house is behind me, and my septic tank is behind it. And the slope goes towards the septic tank. You see what I'm saying? I want my fresh water up here. Even though it's higher than my home, but it's still high land. And then I want my home, and then I want my septic tank away, far as away from my water as I can. Even though my septic tank don't even scratch the surface of the depth of my well, but it filters through. And some people say, I don't eat dirt, I don't touch dirt, I don't do that. Come to the country. You're gonna learn that a lot of this stuff, you can't imagine what the city do to get that boo-boo water clear again. Trust me. Or that bottled water clear again, purified water. You don't want to imagine what they do to get purified water. But the country teaches you about life. Like, okay, something passes away, it falls on the ground. The flies, the maggots, the ants, the animals, they eat it. The leftover skin, bones, and all that, it rots. It goes into the soil, which replenishes the soil. The sand, the silt, the clay, it's a natural filter. And it filtrates all the rain, the runoff water, and all of that. And then you have waterways up underneath the ground. And those underground streams, those underground caverns are where we get our water from. Nature is beautiful and amazing. You mean to tell me man can build a better filtration system than God? I say no. So protect your land. Try to get as much land you can, whatever that may be, whether it's half acre, quarter of acre, or 2,000 acres. Get as much as you can afford. Build your buffer system. Build your infrastructure. And enjoy your land. Enjoy life and contribute back to nature. What's going on, Analytic Gardener? Hey, Eco. Working. So thank you for coming in. I'm finna get ready to get out of here, fam. Any more questions? I'm finna slide on out. Let's see. This is great info. Solution videos are my favorite prices. Hey, I appreciate that, man. The goal is to make your life a little bit easier. You see what I'm saying? Why go down a path and then not help others? Make sure the millionaires and billionaires buying large areas of land for their computer data system cooling, or so, what cools? What cools? You know, I mean, you look at the acres upon acres of solar fields, which I still, that's why I believe you have to diversify with your resource. I don't believe there's one source for everything, because everything's going to consume something. And I personally wouldn't lease my land out to none of that solar panel stuff, because I got solar panels out here and they nowhere near the magnitude of that. And I've seen what the weather does to solar panels. Because once again, you get these little cheap solar panels, or you get the, let me stop saying cheap. You get these cost-effective solar panels, and you think that they will last as you use it every day in the weather, the inclement weather, the sun, the rain, the wind. It shows you their durability. Now, when I was in the city, man, my solar panels lasted forever. But I didn't pay attention to what I did sometimes. Sometimes when the weather get bad or something, I bring them in, put them in the garage, and then I bring them out on a nice, cool day, and I test my equipment. I didn't realize I was part-time in my equipment, and I thought I was prepared, but I was a part-time off-gritter. I might camp out in the middle of my backyard, maybe a night or two or something like that. I thought my tent was built a certain way. I thought that all tart was created equal. It's so much. I thought that certain things was built well constructed because I bought it from here, or I paid this much for it. Now, before I buy things, I look at the integrity of it over price. I look at the structure. I look at the functionality of it. I look at it. Do I need power to operate it, or is this something that this power is not required? Then I look at my price. Because it's real out here 24/7. And I watch what happens to these solar panels out here and what they are made out of. And you talking about acres upon acres. What's in the solar panel? I don't recommend, but crack one open and look at one. I have cracked some open, not on purpose, but there's things called rocks and stuff that hits, and some of them they just shatter for no reason. I've had solar panels just sit out here in the sun and they just all of a sudden just split. Could be due to moisture, coldness. Moisture got in there, and then the water expanded. It could be all kind, but you will encounter this, my friends, if you do this. If you go wholeheartedly, but be prepared to, if you need these supplies, you need these things, be prepared to replace them, because you don't want to be freezing. You don't want to be without power and without water or whatever you need, whatever necessity you need. But my question is, what are they gonna do with that stuff when they get fractured, or as time goes on, they get compromised? Where all this stuff and this metal and chemicals and all this stuff gonna leach over into all these acres? I'm talking about, man, down here in the South, it's acres upon acres upon acres upon acres. I done driven miles and seen nothing but vast land. They got rid of all the cattle, all the agriculture, all the everything, and they putting up number solar panels. And I'm like, what happens when they get 8, 9 years old? What happens when they get a ice storm? Are some of these corporations gonna be like, well, we pay you for the rest of the lease, but we're out of here? Where they gonna take that stuff? Are they gonna take the infrastructure back out? They're gonna pay for a lease. I seen people who pay for a lease to do a sign in people land, but most of the time the sign gets so deteriorated, it just pretty much rot. And a lot of time the lease people leave the stuff there. I don't know how that works with solar panel. I hadn't did the research, but I don't see a good happening. If you living somewhere around these solar panels and stuff, I don't know. I don't know if I want that property around there, or especially if you on a downward slope with a water runoff and all that. I don't know. Like I said, call me a little paranoid or whatever, but I don't know. Uh, had to get a gym membership just to shower when the water house freezes in the winter in the RV. The things you learn. Hey man, what you talking about? See, testimony. See, testimony. Stuff you don't even think about. You know, you come home, you tired, and you get in your RV, and yeah, it's all cool and cuddly in the beginning, but man, the wind get the blowing, get the rocking the RV, and you put your little sheathing around the RV, because if you don't put no sheathing around there, you're gonna lose energy, and you're losing all that energy, and you're burning all your propane, you're burning all your gas, and it just, it's an uncomfortable situation when you're doing the party. It sounds nice, it sounds affordable, but make sure that it's temporary. Whether it's a car, van, RV life, shed, if you ain't make it mentally say this is temporary, because ain't nothing like a well constructed home. Nothing at all. Even our manufactured home, we could have got a whole lot cheaper one, but I had to have at least 2x6s. I had to have a certain R rating in my insulation. I had to have a metal roof. I had to have a certain wind zone. I don't want the minimum. I don't want the basic. I had to pay extra for the tie downs, for the cross beams and all that stuff. That's what you put your money in. The foundation stuff, the people they ain't see. It's fine to walk in the house and be like, man, look at that kitchen, look at the cabinetry, man, look at it. My old house I lived in, that thing been there since 1977. And it's built better than some of them houses built in 2020, 2021. Even after sitting there since 1977, the last house we had. The structure is better. The beams are better, in better shape. It didn't have the braces, the aluminum tie downs. It didn't have none of that, but it's seen a whole lot more storms, a whole lot more hurricanes, and some of these hadn't even been tested. And the wood ain't even the same. They won't even let a tree get mature no more. When they built that house, them was some real. You don't even see wood age like that. You can't even count that many rings. So I don't be looking for the stuff that you see. Man, look at the light fixtures. I leave that to Gigi. I leave that to Gigi. I'm opening up cabinets. I'm looking up underneath the cabinet. I want to see the pipe. I want to see access to maintenance. I want to see the water heater. I want to see the floor joists. I want to see what beams. I want to see open up the door, look inside the door jamb where the lock goes in. I want to look and get my little knife and feel it in there and see if there's some OSB code, what kind of code, or what is that little 1x4 that's in my door. I want to know all the stuff that I don't see. I want to know the stuff I don't see. Because long term, that's going to be a blessing to me. All this trinkets and cutesy stuff and all that, it's going to be fatty anyway. It's going to get changed out anyway. But you don't want to be walking downhill in your house or uphill in your house or sideways in your house. You know what I'm saying? So it's the quality. It's the quality over cost. Taking notes. I might be RV living until the house comes. Well, you do the RV. Depends on where you are. Just make sure that you are permitted to do a RV living, because I'm telling you, they're really cracking down on people doing that because you're messing up their money. That's all I'm saying. And another thing, fam, drones are real. Let me say this real careful. Drones are real. And they're not using them just for military. Some people don't have to come to your land to see if you're building or constructing stuff on your land. They don't have to step foot onto your land. Law enforcement don't have to step foot onto your land to come and see what you're doing on your land. If a whistleblower blow, they don't have to come down the driveway to come see what's going on your land. If you might be growing something you probably shouldn't be growing, they don't have to go and get in a plane like they used to and ride around and just take pictures and do all that. Drones are real. Government use drones, and if not government, they contract out to drone people. Insurance company do them? Hello? Well, I had that such and such. You might just get some insurance, new client, new construction, get some insurance, and you might see a drone fly by. And if you get caught lying about this was this way and this was that way and this was this day and that way, they might already know the game. Because that's the world we live in, fam. I'm just saying, that's the world we live in. So just keep this in mind if you think about shortcutting certain things. And this is the thing. It's if you shortcut things and if you planning on living your entire life there, not to say I still would do it, that's more understandable. But I still say you're shortchanging your kids or who you leave it with. Because the problem is when they get ready to liquidate it or borrow from it or insure it, you think it's going to get easier and easier to get insurance on property? You think it's going to get easier and easier as time go on to get insurance? Even if it's just insurance, if you don't plan on selling it. Before you sell, you got to do these seller disclosures and all of that. Did you get the permit for this? Was this constructed? When they get ready to do the title search and all that, they're going to be looking for all of that stuff. And they're going to disclose it. And if you sign them disclosures saying, yeah, and you lying, technology is going to hit different because it ain't going to be humans behind a lot of this stuff in the future. It's going to be a little AI behind a lot of this stuff that's going to make determining factors on whether they're going to give lending, whether it's going to be approved for lending, for insurance approval, for a lot of different stuff. So I'm just saying, be mindful, fam. Be mindful. I know we want to save costs and cut costs, but infrastructure, don't play with it. Don't play with your infrastructure. Trust me, don't play with it. Y'all, I'm getting ready to get out of here. I'm getting ready to enjoy my Friday. Got a few errands to run. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing well. And I appreciate you coming on in. And if you don't mind, hit the like. Now, one thing I have noticed, you last this long, at least go ahead and subscribe, please. That way you get the notification, and make sure you hit that notification for all. That way you can get the alerts when I do my lives, and you can come in and we can fellowship together. Another thing I noticed in my analytics, I'm starting to pay attention to analytics a little bit more. Most of my viewers do not subscribe. Almost 95% of my viewers are not subscribed. That's a big, big number. I appreciate y'all that do subscribe. Most of my subscribers do watch, but I'm asking, if you don't mind, just use a little bit of energy and subscribe if you don't mind. I appreciate it, and I'll be sure to keep providing you more and more content that hopefully it'll be news that you can or you cannot use. So whatever you do, don't forget to keep on growing. Grow. Till the next time, y'all take care, fam. Peace. Y'all stay blessed.